Welcome to Dr. Mike Live on RVTV Community Access Television or online at rvtv.sou.edu. I am your host, Michael Rhodes. I'm not a real doctor. I have a master's degree in psychology and education. I also have a CADC-3, also known as a CADAC, which deals with chemical dependency and related disorders. I'm a national certified counselor. I'm in private practice in Ashland, which features extended sessions. If you've ever been in counseling, you found that you're just beginning to get to the good part, the important stuff, and your hour's over. As a clinician, I find that frustrating and dissatisfying. So in my practice, I work until we both feel we are complete. I find this is a much more effective approach. For more information, you can email me at Michael at Passabilities, put up the Passabilities, I think, at gmail.com, or call me at 541-292-0870. I have been in practice for about 25 years in the field, which is now developing in some amazing ways. Exploring these new frontiers is what this program is all about. And so I have with me some special guests tonight who got involved with a contest put on by the Jackson County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and this was sponsored as a sort of subgroup, Jackson County Youth Suicide Prevention was who this came under. And so I would like to introduce my guests, and of course, I'm blanking on your name. Introduce yourself.
My name is Nicholas Winsel.
Nicholas, yes.
I was a student at North Medford High School. I have graduated this year, and I live in Medford, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, and your guest?
I'm Ethan Enriquez. I went to the same school as Nick, and I just graduated as well, and we both live in Medford. So.
Okay, very good, thank you. So, Nick, tell me, how did you hear about this, and what was sort of the backstory here?
Well, so basically, our school had flyers around the place, you know, and it had a, video contest, and, I had taken 2 years of, well, actually 1 year of basic video production, and then 2 years of advanced video production.
Oh, good.
So, obviously it was something I wanted to really get into. So, I read up on it a bit, and it said, film a PSA video about, preventing suicide on your phone or something like that, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So, I saw it through flyers, and then I got more information on the website.
All right. And then how did you, taking the skills you had from the training, which is really cool that the high school would have classes like that. I'm impressed with that. That's neat. What was the, how did you come upon your concept?
Well, so the first time around, I basically wanted to, focus mostly on the preventing suicide part, which, sounded pretty good at first, but it wasn't, truly that good, because it was just focusing on the suicide prevention, not the Jackson County suicide prevention. So the first one was pretty good, but I feel like this time around, it was perfect, because basically I had background shots. I wanted to capture Jackson County within this video and show that, it's not people, far away, it's people here in the Jackson County that can help you out and stuff.
Cool. Okay, so it personalized it, localized it, made it relatable. Very good. Okay, that's incredible. How did you get involved?
Nick told me that he was doing a suicide prevention video. And first off, I really wanted to hang out with Nick because who doesn't enjoy spending time with their friends?
Right.
And second, I have gone through stages where I wanted to commit suicide. Actually, not too long ago, a few months ago. But I always told myself that there's tomorrow. Tomorrow will get better.
Good. Good. So you related pretty deeply to the whole concept
I
and
did.
process here. Very good. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. So I think if we're ready in the control room, can we run the winning video? That would be the first one we put up.
Hey, I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
Everyone has their role in preventing suicide. What is yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours? This has been brought to you by
This message has been brought to you by
This message has been brought to you by the Jackson County Youth Suicide Prevention Coalition.
Great hand applause from the crowd here. That was excellent. And I like the repetition.
Yeah.
The going over the each point with different different participants, different actors here going on. So without further ado, let me present you with your winning prize.
Thank you.
And you may open the box. Yes. Get it. Oh, you're gonna, yeah, put it up. There you go.
There we go.
All right.
Awesome.
So that is your card to what is the name of it?
It's Amazon.
Amazon. That's who it is. Yes. Boy, my brain is not working tonight. All right. So, and how you did mention a little bit of what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, so basically, I decided since my actors weren't paid, because, you know, they were friends and family, I mean, you know, that's essentially what you have them for,
Right.
to use them and not get paid.
Right.
But I decided that I would at least give all my actors a little treat, you know, buy them, you know, one bag of their type of candy and stuff, and, you know, I would imagine you would like that, Ethan. Yeah.
All right.
Who doesn't
Good.
like free candy?
Yeah. And actors will work for food.
Yeah.
No question about that. So that's very good. And do you think the other one is ready to roll? If we can get that up here, the one we just added, because this is the first one, and I really liked what you put into this as well, and I want to see both of them if we can.
Hey, I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
Everyone has their role in preventing suicide. What is yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours? This has been brought to you by
This message has been brought to you by
This message has been brought to you by the Jackson County Youth Suicide Prevention Coalition.
Okay, as I recall, your first one really told a story.
Yeah.
Can you tell this? Tell the story. Give me the storyboard version of what you had.
So basically, so we're talking about the very first one for
Yes.
the very first competition.
Yes.
Yeah, so
First.
basically, it surrounded around, you know, darkness, you know, someone in the mind of, you know, being very depressed, you know, just not in the right mind. And it mostly focused around, you know, youth, because you can see as the camera like looks down,
Yeah.
this student or kid is just flipping through pages of, you know, mistake, 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 and it's like, you know, it's no good news and all that. It's like they just keep on looking through it, and then they finally stop and they look over and they see, like, you know, some medication, and they think, you know, well, I'm just gonna, this just isn't worth it. So they go to reach for it, but their phone, which is on the table as well, lights up and all that. So they obviously go for it and they grab it and open it up, and it's a message from mom. It says, "Hey, don't let that paper get you down. I'm here for you."
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a neat story, and this was 30 seconds that we did here, and so that qualifies it to go on regular broadcast TV. And here they'll play anything, but so I'm glad you did that. That was great. But I like that first version too, because do you recall what the time length was that on? That was.
I think it was around. I think 29 seconds or around like 42.
Yeah, I think about that 42 like this was originally, and I was just amazed at what you're able to put together in that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really neat. I like that too, because you really did get it.
Yeah, and not only that, but having to have that time constraint makes you like really skilled at noticing parts that don't really need it. So that really helped me out a lot. Focusing mostly on what's the main message that needs to get across, and let's just cut away the scraps.
But you have to then frame the message strongly enough so it does come across quickly, efficiently, but effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, and you did. You did very nicely. I wanted to also, in your situation, tell you the whole reason that I am involved with the coalition and such. I'm there representing Winter Spring, which is a local Rogue Valley organization that deals with loss and grief, through many different experiences. I mean, they have groups for pet loss, they have groups for cumulative loss and such, and they have a group for people whose loss was by suicide. And in 2000, I lost my first wife to completed suicide after having suffered 2 strokes at 40 and 45, and just the disability became just very overwhelming for her. And so I was, to a great degree, her caregiver, and so losing her was gave me the feeling of losing a great deal of my own sense of self, who I was, because a lot of it was identified with being her husband and being there for her and such as best I could be. And this had come after we'd both gone on to SOC here. At that time it was SOC, now it's SUE, but and got our bachelor's degree and then got master's degree together, and we'd gotten professional jobs. I was doing alcohol and drug rehab after about 2.5 years of sobriety, I guess. So it was pretty early to be turning professional.
Right.
And she went into vocational rehabilitation, and she was very good at it. It was very stressful, but and she'd been in for about a year, and at 40 was when she had the first stroke, and it was disabling of her speech and short-term memory, but so is on the left side of the brain, pretty much not the right side. And then again, 5 years later, she had another. So 85 and 90, and then so 15 years after, in 2000, finally, she couldn't. couldn't go on. So anyway, it took me 2 years. The first 2 years after losing her, my life really fell apart. I just stopped doing the work I was doing, which was in mental health and alcohol and drug work, and lost the house and lost my dog, you know, the whole thing. And then finally, a friend who was going herself, she had a loss. She said, "Come with me. We're going to Winter Spring." And I had knew of Winter Spring. I'd sent people to Winter Spring, but I didn't know I needed to go to Winter Spring. But that, for me, was where it was like a trampoline that really created a bottom, and that stopped the downward spiral of my life. And then, so that was 2002, 2 years later. And then from that point, then went into what was called at that time the Butterfly Group. And that was for, you know, people who had survived loss by suicide. And then I actually facilitated for the same group for another year and a half, excuse me, after that. And then kind of left for a while and then recently came back, but it took about 7 years, which is about right, to finally get feeling like I could come back and, excuse me, work professionally. So I've done further groups for Winter Spring and hang out with them, and that brought me, you know, it was through them that I got involved with the coalition. So with that being said, I really appreciated the fact that you listen to both sides. And particularly, excuse me, my concern has been youth suicide, you know, more than anything else in terms of finding a prevention, as well as professionally I work in a rehab center where I do groups and lecture and such. And so both to watch out for chemical dependency as well as, you know, depression. And so if you are into it, can you describe a little bit of what were some of the predisposing factors that kind of set up the situation for you?
Well, within a week, I was hitting rock bottom.
Really?
My girlfriend broke up with me.
Uh-huh.
Some friends that I was really close to dropped me off the face of the earth.
Oh my gosh.
And then a few weeks after that, my dog died of leukemia. So I was depressed for
Multiple losses there.
yeah, still somewhat recovering from that.
Sure.
Those.
Sure. Yes, and they do have a group there for just people who have exactly that, you know, multiple losses, because they do tend to stack on top of each other when they come quickly like that. Wow. And then you also worked as kind of your own cheerleader in a way too?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I kept telling myself that if I was to kill myself, that my friends, my family, everyone would be sad. I would just make them worse. So I decided to wait it out.
That's quite remarkable. because part of, as you experience what can happen with that stress, that degree of stress, and overload, can create kind of a tunnel vision where you really just focus in on only the loss, the negative, the pain kind of consumes you, and there's no space or room for that, the realization, the ability to think, what then? And so for you to have gone there, I mean, that also, there's a huge element of compassion in that. And I guess it would seem like almost the bargain you kind of made was deciding your willingness to go ahead and suffer whatever was going to come, out of the loss for as long as it was going to take, and is unpredictable. Really for the sake of the people you cared for. I salute you for that presence of mind. That's amazing. One of the things that I have been studying along this line that's been very important to me is brain function. And the fellow I've been studying from actually has a course designed for high school and early college, about neuroanatomy and function, but with the idea of giving kids what he calls brain envy, and where they really can see that their whole quality of life is pretty much directly dependent on the function of the brain. And one of the things that we know is that the brain does not fully develop, particularly what's called the prefrontal cortex. It develops from the back to the front until about age 25 in girls, 28 in guys. And so your ability to be thinking, which is prefrontal cortex stuff, that's where that happens, where you have the capacity to go to the if-then, which when that isn't, and this is why teenagers can be so vulnerable, is that there's no capacity to sort of think it through, particularly if it's impulsive. And the other thing that I've been looking at is sort of other situations, and one of them was the Columbine shootings, because the mother of one of the shooters has come forward. She's written a book. She's been on TED Talks and such, and she's really told her story. And the point of it for me was that she did not see any signs, and the only place there were signs of what was going on was in a journal that he kept well hidden, and in a set of videotapes that he made with his friend Eric, which were also, pretty much kept under wraps. So to me, there's also a lot of interest in just sort of surviving the whole period of growing up from mid-high to, I'm not sure how it's developed through high school. I guess it's 6 years altogether, kind of?
Yeah, I think so.
6 years. In Medford, it's 6 years.
It's 6 years in Medford, yeah, okay. Because they're, there's so much going on, so much to integrate, so much in terms of, because you're beginning to just discover who you are and where you belong, and so there are, gatherings. I don't know what the classifications are these days. Socials, jocks, nerds.
Yeah. Basically, I would say it's a little bit more open now. Like,
Is it?
Yeah, there isn't really a, truly definitive, you fit in this category.
Uh-huh.
It's more of a, you're kind of a little bit more open, You're not just a jock, you're a jock that also likes to program video games, There is no, true definition, I suppose.
So the boundaries are more blurred.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool. That's cool. It's good to hear. And the other thing, of course, of interest is, this classically been there is not just social media, but the sort of the tendency to bully and pick on littler kids and things like that, or be picked on, and how that now is not just confined to the schoolyard or the walk home.
Yeah. With, the new coming age of, social media, all this technology, it's just, you can be a bully anywhere. You can, I think people go online to basically, hate on others, just because they can. There's like a invisible wall. You can't really see who's doing it, or you can't really do anything about it, You can, spread lies, rumors, and all that. It's just much more easier today and stuff.
Is it kind of anonymous that you're doing it, or just the sense of the separation, and you're not doing it face to face?
I would say it's both of that, because you can create however many accounts you want. You can be someone random. You can, influence others basically, and it's also that face-to-face kind of confrontation. You can call someone a mean name to their face, and you're gonna get a reaction, directly and stuff.
Okay. I think I'm hearing our theme music. We're going to be back. Don't go away. We'll see you in a few moments. So that's the first half of the show.
I was gonna
All right, guys. Thank you. We're back. Okay. We have been talking with my two guests, recent graduates from North Medford High, who submitted the award-winning video that Nicholas put together. And we should, for those people who may have missed it, if we could run that again, please, so we could look at it. This was for the Jackson County Youth Suicide Prevention PSA contest. And the requirements were that it be 30 seconds, and we got that in there. And
Hey, I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
Everyone has their role in preventing suicide. What is yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours? This has been brought to you by...
This message has been brought to you by...
This message has been brought to you by the Jackson County Youth Suicide Prevention Coalition.
okay, very, very well done, and you got the last line in there. very, very accurately. And you'd mentioned earlier that you wanted to get landmarks
Yeah.
in there. You did.
Basically, I wanted to, get the Jackson County, get, famous areas or, just common places that people go,
Yeah.
I mean, I could have done it in front of a Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
but I really wanted to, get the true Jackson County, things that have been there for quite a while and won't be going anywhere soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, you were going to had some ideas when we finished up last time.
Yeah, to go back to what Nick was saying, that this bully is now on a screen somewhere. This makes it that way a kid can be bullied 24/7, which is pretty scary. I mean, I always grew up and my house was my safe house.
Yes.
I was in it, I was fine. Well, nowadays, kids are in their house where they're supposed to feel safe, and they're getting attacked online.
Right, right. Yeah, I heard you mention before the show when the director was talking that when you entered school, you were kind of a year behind or something, or entered early, so you're younger than the rest.
Well, when I moved into the neighborhood that I'm actually currently living in, everyone was a few grades higher than I was. So, me and
new kid, youngest kid, smallest kid?
yeah, and it didn't help that I had a little brother that needed to be protected too. So,
So you're the big brother.
yeah,
Okay. So you had some responsibilities there.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when Dad was working graveyard shift,
Mm.
so gotta sleep during the day, and
Mm-hmm.
Mom's gone from 7 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
about.
Mm-hmm.
I had to watch over it.
Mm-hmm. So that, okay, that suddenly connects some dots for me. In the sense of what we were talking about previously, in the previous half hour here, of your capacity to empathize with others and to see, in the midst of your grief, cumulative grief, considering suicide as an option, and then thinking it through and realizing the impact it would have. And I was remarking that was not the usual situation. Most people are so overwhelmed by it, they don't have the capacity to be able to, think outside themselves. And so, but the fact that you had already been in a kind of parent role, certainly the, as you say, protector role, kind of ended up being some training of that capacity.
Yeah, as I was growing up, I came to learn that I was more mature when it came to serious subjects than my peers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because I am naturally born to protect others.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I could remember, I've been watching over everyone I cared about.
Mm-hmm. And watching out for potential predators, right? Basically, yeah, coming in. Wow. Because unfortunately, what ends up happening, because after reading, looking at the tapes and reading the book, I came up with this term, malicious delight. And that's what I saw from Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris in the tapes they made, that they were having fun. And because I was trying to understand, suicide is a form of violence, but it's violence, that is contained, it's towards yourself. Dylan failed himself in his desire to commit suicide to end the pain he was going through, which was mainly not at home. It was all from school. But he couldn't do it on his own, so that's where it worked with getting involved with Eric. And then they also created a bond of loyalty with each other because they knew, in Dylan's part for sure, I don't know Eric's story that much, but in Dylan's part there was definitely values that he grew up with that he was acting against. And this creates, what's called cognitive dissonance. And so they had to really connect on a very deep level to support each other in terms of, pulling this whole thing off, which fortunately didn't go to the extent they had planned. But in what you're describing here, and usually it's, and this is kind of like almost in nature, herds you'll see, the runts of the litter and the ones that aren't as fast, they kind of end up getting left behind because, you have to take care of yourself so to a great extent. And so in that same way, I wonder if there's almost this natural tendency to pick on people in terms of challenging them to see if they can deal with it. I don't know, these are just thoughts that come to my mind, but the fact is that when somebody is singled out to be picked on, they don't know how fragile that person may be. Yeah. And they end up, pushing at it and sometimes literally saying you'd be better off dead.
Yeah. I think it's that, in a natural sense, we as, humans or as, a species look to, people that are different, and we think to ourselves, well, they're not like us, so obviously something is wrong with them, and we need to, pick that out and point it out and just tell them that for this reason, you shouldn't be alive. It's very unfortunate to see that, but that is basically what it is. It's like, well, you don't do the things that we do, so we're just gonna, single you out because you're the odd one out, and it's a lot of us against one of you. It's mob mentality, I would say.
It does get that way, right, because the charismatic leader does tend to get a posse of admirers together, and so it ends up being performance art in a way, where they can, particularly if he's kind of a bigger guy picking on a littler guy, then, he gets all this awe. It's sent to him for being so tough that he can pick on little kids. So it sort of doesn't make sense when you think about it, but that seems to be how it happens.
Well, it does kind of make sense. That's how he takes charge, is he makes someone who is littler or different a scapegoat, essentially. So that way his posse is not seeing all of his flaws.
Not only that, but it's like, well, this person is doing it, and more people are joining him on, singling out this person, we should join in because that's the, cool thing. There's more people behind it, so, we better be part of that,
Be on the winning side.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's as Ethan said, it's a scapegoat, it's a, we need to single out this person so we don't see our own flaws, It's like all these people could have, their own weird things about them, but since, this person got chosen,
Yes.
they just get
That makes a lot of sense. So it's a way to create a facade, a persona, look good, and just kind of strut it, a sense of power, I suppose. Here an accolade, yeah, that it feeds. I was wondering too, in terms of what was there at North, in the sense of, was there any support for people who are having trouble getting along? And
Yeah, I would say there's a little bit of support. It's we have counselors there, which help us with our academic, role and all of that. But they're also there to, talk and listen. If you do have personal problems with, like, say, another classmate, they'll figure out a way around it. But I think what the students at North really need is like more of a unified, student body, because we know that an adult can step in and they can take charge and they can, help us out. But I think it would be better if we kind of had a sense of another student helping us.
I think you're absolutely right on. When it comes, yeah, I agree with that, because I know that in my work, if I say something, yeah, okay, so, I'm up there, I'm different than they are, because even though I have history they can relate to and I can relate to them, nevertheless, right now I'm a paid hack.
Yeah.
But if it comes from somebody else in the group, that has so much more power and weight.
Well, and it's funny that you should say that. I mean, when I was going through my whole ordeal with those two, and he confronted me at our lunch spot, it was nice knowing that I had you guys right behind me.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It made a difference.
Yeah, basically, Ethan had a previous group of friends that, he really, got into, like, they were really friends, but then it kind of just fell apart and they started to scapegoat Ethan out of all of them and all that. And so,
Wow. So they turned on you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
And so that's why his new group of friends, which is me, one of his, basically, we had a group of friends and we decided to back up Ethan because, I think it meant more that we do something and say, well, we're not going to let them just bully you around.
Yeah, and that's how I was able to continue to walk through these halls. Because this was just a few months ago that this whole ordeal happened.
Yeah.
And every time they saw me in the hall, the same halls I've been walking for 3 years prior, they would curse me out, tell me that I'm a piece of shit. Ooh. And
Community access is fine.
okay. And basically tell me that I should go die. And it truly was nice that in those same halls I had friends, even outside my normal group, who were giving me high fives, telling me that I'm amazing, that I'm a good person. So when it comes from someone your age, it's a little bit more impactful.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess you really found your role in this. Whether you knew it or not, I don't know if you knew it, but just that sense of seeing somebody in pain and suffering. And
I kind of felt like, Ethan, he probably gets, support from others saying, well, screw those guys, they're, mean and stuff. But I kind of found my own role, which is, just being a jokester, just, I know he probably gets lots of support, from other people, but, I don't really want to focus in on it. I don't want to be like, well, let's continue to talk about that subject. You know, it's more of a, I wanted to pull him out into like a, you know, jokey kind of area, you know, just a nice area instead of focusing on how to fix the bad area in his life and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, good. This is a typical thing that adults do for kids, and they particularly do it, you know, in really that very sweet time of summer after graduation, before the rest of your life kind of gets going, that time off. But nevertheless, I'm going to go there. So at this point, how do you see your future heading on? Any hopes and dreams?
Actually, I've really turned around since then. I went and got a job. I went and found that I'm going to Sacramento in September to go to school to be an automotive mechanic. Then I'm going to go to Minnesota so that way I can specialize in one brand of car, which is Dodge, because Dodge Challengers are my favorite.
All right.
And then I'm going to enjoy the rest of my life because I'll have a job where I'm enjoying it. And
Very good. Cool. I have some questions for you afterwards. I don't want to pick on you too much, but thank you. How about your situation here?
Well, so basically, I don't know, my life has kind of been, you know, a little bit rough all around, like just throughout life itself has just been rough. Like when I was a kid, you know, I had to go through court separation between my mom and dad, and they were fighting over me. And then after that, she went through her first depression, and I had to witness that. And then after that, I got diagnosed with a brain disease called MS, and now she's going through her second depression because she lost her mother and husband at the same time, which is, you know, kind of the situation you were in, too many losses at one time.
Right.
So, I mean, for now, I'm just going to, like, just continue to live on and just do the casual stuff, you know. I just go home, I, you know, make funny videos, I hang out with my friends, you know. There's, I don't look to the future because it could just be a, you know, there could be 5 more miles of muddy water, you know, that you have to track through. So it's better to just focus on the, you know, nice pastures that you're walking through right now.
Wow. Okay. You have a lot of heavy philosophical people supporting that. You know, Ram Dass whole thing, be here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, you know, people, I'm not going to say, well, you need to live in the here and the now to be happy, because, you know, everyone has their own happiness, you know. You can't just tell them how to be happy, you know, it's something they find themselves in. It's really just, you know, me just living right now, just not focusing on the future or too much on the past. It's just, you know, enjoying driving with my friend Ethan here, you know, for half an hour. It was really fun.
Cool, cool. Okay, good. Because there's another part to it too, and you both share this, and that is right now doing what you love. They say if you do that, then you never work a day in your life. And the other thing is that it can lead you, because there are certainly stories of people who, you know, just dinkering around and then throw it on YouTube or something, and things get moving there. So it's like more can be revealed here. So I think that sounds neat. And I also acknowledge, you know, and admire that you're able to not put the normal pressure on yourself to, what are you going to do now? Who are you going to be? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, kids, students, and all these, you know, new and young generation growing up, they have pressure on them, you know, what are you going to be in the future? How are you going to make, a difference in society? When really, it's do what you gotta do. If you like going home and just watching YouTube videos while eating ice cream, just do what makes you happy.
Or making silly ones yourself, yeah. With those.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. One of the ideas that we talk about in recovery is the concept of a interactive, at least my words for it, interactive universe.
Yeah.
That sort of life kind of can, give you learning experiences, and if you can kind of manage to sort of keep yourself open to keeping the resiliency, I think, is the best word I know, to be able to keep bouncing back from setbacks, that the universe really supports that when you can do that. And you both have really shown that capacity. That's very, very cool thing to do there. And the other thing too I would say to you is that keep Googling for developments, because there's so much happening in medicine these days that can help with your situation.
Yeah, it's kind of scary because it's unpredictable. Like with, I wouldn't say every type of disease is predictable. Like I would say leukemia. It's obvious what you go through with that, but with MS, it's like something completely different. Like I'll have really bad like stomach attacks, like where I just want to roll over and cry and all that. And then, a month later, I'll just, have no feeling in my left hand, and it's just really, really wild because, it slowly eats at your neurological system, the coating on the wires that keep the electricity running through your body.
The myelin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild, It's fun.
It's in exploring what next, where's it going to come next? My
It
God.
would certainly break up the monotony of your day.
Yes.
Keeps me on my toes.
Does that. It does that. Yes, I hear that. Okay. Well, I really admire both of you. And tell me about the rest of the crew. How did they get involved?
Well, our friend Alex, decided that, well, he didn't really decide. I forced him into the video. And I said, you have to be in this because I need some diversity in it and stuff.
We
But
told him we were hanging out.
yeah,
And then
we basically told him we were going to hang out, and then we surprised him with this. So
Surprise. You're in
know,
the camera.
you can kind of hear it in his voice that, he's a little bit, not too happy about it. But our female actor is actually from Denmark, and she's an exchange student. So, while she was here, I decided, well, I'm pretty good friends with her. I'd like her to be in this video because maybe, it could be something she could look back on and be like, wow, I remember in my time in America, I was in this video. And then, my mom at the very beginning.
Yeah.
She's my mom. I just got to have her in my video.
She did great.
Yeah, I mean, open up the door, say, I'm here for you.
Yeah, they all did.
It's a tough role.
she had to time that perfectly.
Right. Yeah. How many takes did it take on this?
For the door scene, it took 2, and then for the rest, it was more of a, one take. I basically just had them re-say their lines, if they messed up a bit, especially the final part, which you can kind of see in the final part of the video. Ethan, doing the Youth Suicide Prevention Coalition. It's a mouthful, and
That is.
I had to do a hand gesture to
Right.
remember what it was.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she had no accent that I heard.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. I wouldn't have known she was.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, compared to the other kids, they have like some really deep accents, and it's kind of hard to differ from what they're trying to say. But apparently, she from all the exchange students have been the most advanced in the English language. So you can't hear it too much, but if you had a conversation with her, you could definitely tell.
Okay, good. It comes in later.
I think
Okay.
it's just when she knows what she's gonna say.
Yeah. Could you run it again if we're going out on that?
Let's go out with a bang.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you.
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What is yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours?
Everyone has a role in preventing suicide. What's yours? This has been brought to you by
This message has been brought to you by
This message has been brought to you by the Jackson County Youth Suicide Prevention Coalition.